available on Proforma's YouTube channel afterwards so that we can discuss these things. And with that in mind, let me kind of continue my philosophical description of what's going on. So when you're doing Google searches nowadays, if you had 4 computers side by side using the same internet connection, but they are all 4 logged into different Google accounts, I will tell you that all 4 will get different results even if they search on the exact same word or phrase. We've run this test multiple times, and ultimately what we found is that trying to get ranked into the search results is not as easy as it used to be, especially with personalized search results, with geographic considerations, and with all the different variations of what Google has done in terms of their algorithms, especially last summer. It's not the same world as it used to be. And to that extent, the question is what other tools are available to you so that any local business can have a chance to be found. And so that's really what we're going to be talking about today. Just to kind of give everybody a quick idea here, I started off our internet business back in 1994. This is our 20th year. I am also a guest author at websites like Search Engine Journal and a guest speaker at national conferences. I can pretty much answer and discuss all things web. And so what we'll do is start off with let's just discuss local store marketing a little bit, and if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and run through the presentation first, and then if we could maybe take a look at questions after I'm done, I think that might be easiest, especially since we have people both in an office as well as people coming over the web. This might be the simplest way of going about this. So with that in mind, let me start off with the fact that search engines, of course, are everything on the search engines have effectively become one big massive yellow page. Since 2008, the maps and the map listings are showing up in the search results on the first page. That has evolved quite a bit. I'll show you some examples here shortly. In order to take advantage of these map listings, or what are also known as local business listings, you need to claim them. There's a PIN code verification process, and then you need to update these listings. And that's really kind of your starting point. Beyond that, you can update them with your marketing materials, and there's quite a very, depending on what website, if you go to Yelp or Google or YP.com, they all have different variations of what you can include, but a lot of the basics are certainly there. And last but not least, you have to figure out how you're going to manage your ratings and reviews. So if you look at the fact that you have to claim it so you can be found, update it with your marketing materials, manage your ratings and reviews, that's kind of your core element, items in terms of how you're going to become seen in the local area for local searches. Now, what's interesting about this whole space of local business listings is the fact that you actually don't need a website. You can in fact use your local business listings, let's say at Google, without a website. Google does not require one for this purpose. Although, as you can imagine, I think the consumers would rather see a website, but it's not necessary. And if you don't mind, I'm going to pop out of here and let's go over to the web, do some searches, and kind of go over all this. Before I go too far, Carlin, I'm assuming the screen's showing just fine, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sounds good. Now, let me start off by doing something simple because there's been a lot of change since last summer in terms of local searches, and I'm going to just do something simple like restaurants. And although I am in the Detroit metropolitan area, I will tell you that I have my location set to Bakersfield, California, so that the only results that we're going to see are in Bakersfield. If you're not familiar with this little tool right here called Search Tools, you have all kinds of options as far as what you can do. One of them is to set your location to a specific area without having to worry about typing that location in. Now, one of the things you'll notice right over here, if you haven't seen this already, it's called the Google Carousel. It's in black. It is at the top of the search results, and it is before advertisers, which is very strange. I mean, for Google to put something that is free or effectively free before the advertisers has raised a lot of eyebrows. And as you can see, it puts multiple businesses front and center to the local consumer. As you can see, you can change this, how you want it to be sorted if you'd like in terms of variations. You can quickly take a glance at who's here and who's not. Their ratings and reviews kind of stick out front and center across the board. And if you want more search results, you have that option as well. One thing that you'll notice about these, about the carousel is some of these locations have photos and some of them don't. I will tell you that the ones that don't have photos are more likely to be not claimed. They're not updated, and probably nobody's managing them. But this carousel also varies depending upon industry and geography. Google has not rolled out the carousel across all industries yet. It is still making its way. So, for example, restaurants and hotels have definitely been targeted as the starting point. But then, depending on where you are, sometimes gas stations will show up in the carousel, and other retail-oriented industries are showing up as well. So the carousel is certainly very important, but you can kind of get an idea that it starts to put the ratings and reviews and these star ratings front and center to the consumer. And one thing I'd like to present to you is a study that was released last June, actually, where it talks about the fact that 85% of consumers are making their buying decisions based on these ratings and reviews. The study was released on Search Engine Watch. It's very intriguing in terms of what has transpired over the course of the last 3 years. So they show 2011, 12, and 13, and as you can imagine, the ratings and reviews are being used more as time has progressed. As a matter of fact, I can show you another study where in 2011, the usage of ratings and reviews was around 60%, and going into 2013, it's gone up to 85%. And depending on the industries, it's very interesting too. So restaurants, very, top of list. Shops in general, hotels are on here. Retail clothes shops, doctors and dentists are on here. And you'll notice that these bars are very high for these particular industries. But then you have all the other industries coming on after that, but you can see that they're not zero. The reality is that consumers are, in fact, paying attention to the ratings and reviews, and they need to be managed. There's different ways to manage these, and I will certainly discuss those here shortly. Some other things I'd like to show you in this, and let's just pick one of these. Then they have a preference, which one we want to pick?
Like whether Eureka's or one of the restaurants you're talking about?
Let's try Eureka's. Exactly right. Let's try Eureka's. Okay, let's go to Eureka's. And one of the things that you'll notice over here is that their information shows up over here on the right side now. And if we want to, we can take a look at their listing at Google. Shows up in the map location, and this is what a consumer has access to be able to do. And what you see in front of you is actually the listing for Eureka's. A few interesting items. You'll notice that this photo over here is the standard Google listing photo. You do have the option of putting your brand in here, photos, anything related to your business. I would certainly recommend that over what's over here. You'll notice that there's a little check mark over here, which means that it's a PIN code verified listing. So somebody did take the time to at least get that much out of the way. They did identify themselves as a European restaurant. I don't know if I would have gone for that, to be perfectly honest with you, because people are more likely to search on Mexican restaurant or Italian restaurant or something more specific than a broad one like European. You can kind of see all their, yep.
That is kind of what you were talking about. It's basically a website that's not a website, but is a website for the business, whether they know they have it or not.
Yeah, Carlin, I would agree with you. I mean, what you have in front of you is effectively a mini website for your business, and it contains lots of information. You can put your photos in here if you have any, and they really haven't put a lot of photos in here. You can put your videos in here if you have any. You can post things. You can talk more about yourself. There's a general, review about, let's say, what people are saying and how many people are saying more of it. I would say your reviews is doing pretty good because most of the reviews are 4s and 5s. Very few are less than that. And scroll down and kind of get an idea of what people are saying. From that standpoint, you can, in fact, use this more, for your own purposes and use it as a mini website. Let me do a few other examples for you here. Let's go back to the search. How about we do, let's say, new car sales. And again, looking at this for the Bakersfield area, if we scroll down over here, you'll see what's called the 7-pack. And you'll generally see this in most industries where there's 7 map listings showing up. If you hover over one of them, Google will display the information for that. What's interesting about this hover over and this display is the fact that consumers really don't need to click on anything. They can just look at this information, make a decision to either call you or get directions and come to your location. And so making sure that your listings are up to date is certainly very important. One thing that's very interesting is you'll notice that with all these car dealerships, they all have star ratings, which is wonderful to see, but it also makes it very easy for a consumer to make a decision which way to go. Would I want to go to BMW Bakersfield when they're running at the lowest star rating here, or do I want to go to Bakersfield with Hyundai, Hyundai Bakersfield, with a higher rating and review? Granted, you may make your decision based on the type of brand of car that you're looking for, but if you were just kind of openly, if you were open to any brand and just looking for a new car, you'd want to make what are you going to use to make your decision and what direction are you going to go? I don't mean to pick on these guys, but because they have the lowest one, let's go ahead and pick on them. And let's look at their listing and just kind of get an idea as to what's going on. You can see that it's PIN code verified, which is great. It's certainly heading in the right direction. You can also see that the majority of their star ratings are actually 1s and 2s, which is quite unfortunate. And with that in mind, let me present an interesting concept. Passively waiting for consumers to post a negative review really isn't the program that we want to entertain. We want to pursue an active program in which we are soliciting our clients for positive ratings and reviews. I think what you'll find is that 80 to 90% or more of your clients are perfectly happy with you. It happens to be the very small percentage that tends to be the loudest when they're not happy. So the question is, how do you tap into the 90% that's happy with you? And there's a variety of programs that you can implement. For example, if you have a newsletter, inside your newsletter there could be a graphic that says "Rate Me," and that "Rate Me" graphic takes them right to your Google listing where they can say something good about you. You can do a newsletter. You can do postcards in your business, and the postcard, for example, would in fact have the link to Google, for example. And I do recommend that you seek out Google because ultimately that is where people tend to go to when they're looking for things. And and not beyond that, it's you've got verbal scenarios, you have email. The question is for your particular business, what's going to be appropriate so that you can get better star ratings. Kind of give you an example on the car dealership because we do work with car dealerships. around the country. One of them that we work with is Audi North Scottsdale. And let me just scroll down here because I happen to work with the GM on this a little bit. When you do have ratings and reviews, and you get a lot of them, well, let me scroll back up here real quickly. You'll notice that the majority of them are 5. Just a couple handful were not great. But out of 63 reviews, you can see that you, as the owner, you can respond to them. You can say something nice, even though, like in this particular case, you have a lot of positive ratings and reviews. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't engage with your client. Go ahead and respond to them, say thank you, include something that they've said in their response as well. And one thing that you'll notice is as you respond to these, it increases the length of how far people have to scroll before they find something else. So I will tell you that in the case of Audi North Scottsdale, the negative reviews are pretty much buried. It's going to be difficult to find them. You have to keep scrolling down and to be able to get anywhere. And I think that if you are able to secure positive ratings and reviews, you will certainly get the attention of the local consumers. I will tell you this, in this particular case, in the BMW scenario, you can see that they do respond to the negative reviews, but I'm not sure that necessarily helps them since the majority are negative. I think they need to solicit and put a program in place that's more active to get better response from, new car sales, used car sales, and let's say their service center. So definitely, when you look at the search results in these types of cases, you want to be able to secure as many of these ratings and reviews in a positive way. I'm not going to spend any more time on this. I wanted to just give you a few examples of what the search results look like, give you some examples of the what a listing looks like, and the fact that it is in fact a mini website for your business. It is not on your website. It's off in different directions. If you think about it, you have this at Bing, at Yahoo, at places like Kudzu, Yelp, YP, Super Pages, Google. There's all these different websites that effectively have mini websites for your business. And it's just a matter of figuring out how to tap into those and secure those listings, get everything up to date, and manage them on an ongoing basis, because at the end of the day, this is a marketing tool, not an advertising tool, and marketing, unfortunately, has no endpoint. Let me switch back over to the presentation, and let me continue with a few other things. I do want to show you some case studies of some smaller projects that we've done. In this particular case, I'm showing you 2 that happen to be in the optical optician, ophthalmologist type industries, and these are some clients that have been with us for a couple of years. What I'd like to do is with this one, I'd like to show you that for some of the keywords in the for their particular geography, when we first started off with them almost 2.5 years ago, they were only ranked for one thing, and that was it. 1 year later, I'm giving you a snapshot about closer to the end of their contract for the first year. You can see that we've improved them quite a bit. They went from not being ranked to an average ranking of 2. Something you'll notice is from 2012 to 2014, there's a missing 2013. And the reason the 2013 is missing in this report is because they decided that we've done such a good job that they didn't need us. And as you can imagine, with Google and the internet industry changing algorithms and new technologies and programming going on, without the ongoing effort, they actually dropped their rankings. Now, since we weren't managing and monitoring their rankings, I don't have the exact numbers here for you, but they did realize that they had lost ground from where they were, and we had to come back in and essentially change things around and get them back on track. And so we were able to help pull them back up, maintain where they were, and that was, I think, certainly quite the feat to begin with. Another example would be an optician where going back a few years ago, his average rank was a 3. In 2012, we got him up into an average rank of a 2, and ultimately for his local city, he ended up being ranked with an average of 1 now. So he's more consistently showing up all the time for the various keywords that he found important. So these are a couple of case studies. We have many more case studies that we can show you. Since we're getting into a little over a half hour into this, I'd like to go ahead and jump right into what is the program about. Because this is a marketing program that's labor intensive, there is some automation, but not a lot of automation. So managing your local business listing is one step of the process. Claiming it, updating it, and then constantly managing its presence, not just at Google, but at multiple websites. We tend to manage 10 major websites, and then there's a syndication service for over 200 websites. You do have a business landing page that we can implement on your website to make sure that those landing pages for cities work together with your local business listing. Local social media marketing is becoming more important, especially with Google+. That's another element of this. Managing your ratings and reviews in terms of helping you solicit for ratings and reviews. Once you do get them, that there's a response to those. That program is also an option. Monthly reports so that we know how are you ranked. And usually what we do with the reports is that you might have 5 different keywords that are very specific to your business. You might have 3 to 5 cities. Usually our ranking reports are about 25 line items long, so that we can take a look at how you rank in the city that you're in, and then how you rank for the surrounding cities. And then based on that, decide what needs to change so that we can continue to improve it. So depending upon what combination of these services you go with, the range per month is 100 to 500 a month. There is at least a minimum 1-year contract because this program is actually front-loaded and heavy in the beginning phases in terms of labor, and then it plateaus as far as the effort is concerned throughout the year. But we found it easier for the businesses and their cash flow to just spread the funds out over a longer period of time. And so we do ask for a 1-year commitment on that. There are lots of other options that you might want to think about in terms of services. For example, we do have a service that's just for PIN code verification. We don't do anything else. So we do the initial PIN code verification. We do an initial update. We run an initial ranking report, and then we walk away. That's an option. Local store advertising. Google has come out with a program called Google AdWords Express. It's actually AdWords Lite. I don't want to get too deep into it right now, but it is very effective and for the local community, and at a lower cost, to be perfectly honest with you. From what we've seen, a better quality of results from that as well. We got event marketing, live broadcast streaming options, whether you want to do passive or active social media marketing, there's a variety of things there. Depending on where you are with your business, we can also do CRM solutions, newsletter marketing, and also help you with your website. So with that in mind, I'm going to stop and see if what type of questions are out there, and see if we can, if there's any specifics that we want to go over. Carlin, anything going on over there?
We're mesmerized.
Mesmerized. Oh, everybody. I agree that this is probably a lot of information in a short amount of time. I'd be happy to go back and revisit something that was discussed.
Maybe we can do a search on one of their businesses to see where they're ranked right now, or what they look like if somebody's trying to find them.
Sure. Give me 1 second here before we do that. I am having a difficult time finding the questions area on my control panel, and unfortunately, Shauna is the one answering questions, and for some reason my control panel is just not willing to show Good question. It's very strange.
It's been a strange lunch and learn for me too. Usually it's
Oh, there it is. Okay. Perhaps you can search for attorney. Carl, okay. Let's do attorney. Might be a little too broad because attorneys tend to be specific in specialty. But let me take a look at that. So if we do one on attorney, for example, you'll see the map shows up at the top. If we scroll down, we've got all 7 of them over here.
attorney.
Will share screen what?
I'm not sure if I heard, somebody said something, but let me see if I can. Carlin, was there a specific question?
I was just making a remark. It's okay.
Okay, gotcha. So if we search on attorneys, you'll see the map does show up. The 7-pack shows up. And what's interesting about this particular search is the fact that only one of them actually has, physical stars over here. My guess is this particular firm is doing a pretty good job of managing their listing, securing ratings and reviews. You'll see that there's 17 of them in this case. But the other ones haven't really touched this. So, if I was the consumer in the area and I typed in attorney and I looked at this, chances are I'd probably spend more time with Benjamin Robert Green than the other one, especially over here like this one. While he may be at the top of the list, he has no reviews. There's probably no information, well, limited information in his listing. So, certainly a little bit more to this. Shauna, let me see here. I didn't know if maybe you had a specific firm that you wanted to review. Maybe not. Okay. Let me move on to what's another search that we want to do? Okay. We talked about fitness repair, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, fitness repair. See what comes up.
So what we're seeing over here is that there's, did I do this right, fitness repair?
Yeah, fitness repair, fitness equipment repair.
Right, okay. So what we're getting over here is that there are no maps, there are no listings, and chances are, I correct, is there, the firm that we're talking about, are they showing up over here? Because I don't have their web address.
No, it's not. No, it's wide open for him to do some internet marketing.
Exactly, right. That would I would agree. Let's do fitness equipment repair and see if that changes anything. Not really. Okay. So I would look at this and say, you know what, there's an interesting opportunity for a local business to actually show up in the maps and to do something more with it. We did law firm, we did fitness repair. I think we had graphic design in here, correct? Or do we want to do?
I want to do magic.
How about magic?
The name of my company is Magic Rabbit.
The name of her company is Magic Rabbit.
Rabbit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All one word.
What? Okay. What type of business is this? I mean, if somebody were to search for you, what would they? Would it
Magician.
just be magician? Okay, let's try that.
Uh-huh.
If we search on magician, we do have a map in this case. Let's scroll down a little bit. What's the name of your business?
Magic Rabbit Productions.
Okay, so Magic Rabbit Productions isn't showing up over here. But you'll also notice that there are only 6 showing up, and since Google has a limit of 7 in the map listings, it looks like there's an opportunity to get you in here and make sure that you get ranked. Yeah, definitely. There's something more that can be done here. So just out of curiosity, if I type in Magic Rabbit Productions as an example, your website shows up.
It needs to be updated.
Yeah, I won't go to your website. We won't go there right now. But your listing doesn't show up, which means that there's definitely a possibility here to help you out, no doubt. Looking at the list of attendees on the web, we have Dennis Manzardo. I don't know if Dennis has any questions. We have a Shauna Sanders and a Shauna Smith on here as well. I don't know if anybody over there has any questions. Feel free to ask them in the questions or the chat box on your GoToMeeting control panel.
Hey, I'll be brave and tell you to Google my franchise.
What would you like to be found under, Carlin?
Try first Proforma without anything other than without adding our franchise title, so just Proforma.
All right, let's see what we get. And mind you, we are set to Bakersfield. So we've got...
And if it says Go Proforma, that's my website.
And Go Proforma is not showing up in this, even for a search for the brand.
I see Go Proforma right.
Oh, right there, I found it. Yep, okay.
That's my franchise.
1, 2, 3, 4 down. All right.
Now try Proforma Progressive Marketing.
You show up, your map listing shows up right below your web address, which is what you want to see nowadays. And you'll notice that your listing shows up over here too. So if somebody's is specifically interested in your brand name, you do show up the way that you're supposed to. Let me see here. I think Dennis had a question. Let me grab that from Dennis. The only thing I need is a pro forma price list. Carlin, that's for you.
Not a problem.
Okay. Gina Martinez just looks like she just joined. If she has any questions, we'd be happy to help answer them as well. I didn't want to go into a lot of detail, but certainly if there are some specifics that you'd like to look over, I'd be happy to discuss those with you. One thing that I can show you, I think, let me just get out of this real quickly. I believe I have a sample ranking report that I can show you. This is an example of a ranking report that's a few years old, but it's not intended to really be specific on anything. Just to kind of give you an idea, when we take a look at specific keywords, a specific city and state, and for any of those keywords, we can also do it plural or singular, trying to figure out what's working, what's not working. In this particular case, I believe this business was only interested in the metropolitan of Memphis. It's fairly large, so it didn't make any sense to do additional cities. But so depending on your region, we can go in that direction. You'll notice that on this ranking report, this column over here is their website, which in this particular case we were not managing, whereas this particular column is related to the local business listing and that we were managing. And what we basically do is look at these reports to decide what's working, what's not working. And you can see that we have more greens going down the listing column that we are managing versus the website that wasn't being managed was actually kind of riddled with a lot of pinks, unfortunately, or they're not showing up in the results. We do take a look at these things, and we send them to you on a monthly basis. We want to make sure that you're, comfortable with what the results are. But by the same token, this is a marketing process, and to that extent, we want to get a dialogue from you. What's going on in your business? What are some of the updates that you have? What are you changing? Do you have any specials that you want to present? Or If you're seasonal, is there something that needs to be done at a specific time of the year? Those are the types of discussions that we want to have with you so that we better understand what's going on with your business and then be able to use that information and get that into the various listings and make sure that they're performing well. I'm trying to think, our VP of Sales, Carl, is on the line too. I don't know if there's anything else that I can say without getting get into too much detail, and to I don't want to cause any confusion. So if there's anything else that I can talk about, please let me know. Looks like
we're good here at the meeting. I think we've got plenty of notes to go over. Let's see what they have to say on the webinar side.
Sure. And yeah, on the webinar side, it doesn't look like there's any additional questions. Dennis just left the conference, and doesn't look like anybody else has any questions either. So I think we're probably clear to go ahead and say thank you very much to everybody, and hopefully this was informative. We certainly look forward to working with you and helping you out.
Thank you, Melih.
All right, guys. Have a nice day.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.